Yes, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be back with you. Obviously, this agreement to resume exports tomorrow morning is significant. We've been attempting to resume exports for the last 2.5 years when exports were halted in March of 2023. So this is the result of intense negotiations over the last 9 months, and it's a landmark achievement. Yes, this is an interim agreement, whereby we are paid $16 for all the barrels produced. That $16 will be proportionally allocated to all the IOCs. There is a designated internationally recognized international consultant who will review oil quality, facilities, and the contract models and terms, and provide a report that will allow a full implementation of the agreement, where each IOC will be reconciled based on the consultant's findings. So there is definitely a capability to increase production back to the levels that we were producing before the pipeline closure, but that will take time. And it will also depend on how the full agreement is implemented. International oil companies cannot make significant investment decisions without contractual certainty, and that will be provided with the implementation of the consultant's findings. So provided that the consultant's findings and the full agreement is implemented, the IOCs collectively can increase production over time, and I would give that between 1 and 2 years from when the full agreement is implemented. As you know, the new administration has a entirely different policy on the U.S. role internationally and economically, and including in the Middle East. And the Trump administration's role in reopening the ITP was critical. It is a policy imperative under the Trump administration, and one that Secretary of State Rubio frequently noted, including in his conversations with the Iraqi government. And their role in ensuring that agreement was reached was critical for us to achieve this comprehensive agreement. It's hard to imagine us reaching this agreement without the strong U.S. support that was provided throughout this process. Obviously, we can quantify the percentage of global oil that our production produces, which is a small percentage, but it's also a significant signal to the Mediterranean and a significant crude that is required on the Mediterranean for a number of refineries. Without the Kurdistan crude on the Mediterranean over the last several years, these refineries and consumers have had to look elsewhere. And unfortunately, we see oil coming from a lot of places, including from Russia. So it's a critical signal that the oil from Iraq and from the Kurdistan region is going to return to the Mediterranean and provide critical diversification of oil supplies for Europe and beyond. Yeah, and that was a separate agreement for us to develop the Moran gas field, one of Iraq's largest, one of the largest in the Kurdistan region. That was obviously a significant development and agreement for our investment, along with Western Zagros. And that announcement, as you know, was made earlier this year in Washington. And the development of gas, it's been said many times, in Iraq is so critical. And the gas and electricity that's going to be produced from those fields is badly needed, both in the Kurdistan region and in federal Iraq. And it clearly represents another significant commitment by U.S. companies to invest in the sector. And we look forward to developing the Moran gas field for Iraq's energy needs, including badly needed electricity. As of today, for sure, after this agreement has been achieved, I think we're all much more optimistic that we could reach an agreement with the Iraqi government to resume exports. The reopening is the hardest part, and I think there's a lot of challenges ahead. to the full implementation, but I think those are much easier solved while the oil remains exported. This revenue is badly needed for the Iraqi government, for the Kurdistan region, and for the international oil companies. And I think it's a new chapter for the sector and for our investments. I think that's the model that the most of the world follows, and it's the only way that you can reliably provide 24-hour electricity to the citizens. The challenge in Iraq, like there are like the challenge in any other place that subsidizes electricity, is that it's very difficult to control demand when people don't pay for what they use. And it requires an exponential requirement for increased supply. In order to balance those, eliminating subsidies and putting on tariffs is the standard practice around the world, and it's one that I think Iraq is going to have to implement. The challenge is, once a society gets used to subsidies, it's very hard, as I think the Kurdistan region has experienced, to reverse those trends and those subsidies. But once you do, the boom from free market economy and the ability to have 24/7 electricity is so significant. And it doesn't just improve people's lives at home, it improves the entire economy and its industry and its ability to function at a much higher capacity. I think so, for sure. And that's the reason why the Kurdistan region has attracted billions of dollars of investment over the last 20 years. It's why it has a oil and gas sector today that it didn't have even 15 years ago. And that's a testament to opening its doors to international investment. And I think the proof is in the fact that the Kurdistan region, as you noted, enjoys 24-hour power per day. Why the region went from producing 0 barrels of oil to over 400,000 barrels of oil with no domestic funding, and that was completed with all international companies like ours financing the entire development. And so I think as we talk today, the reopening of the Iraqi-Turkey pipeline returns the Kurdistan energy sector to the global market, and that will be a significant signal to U.S. investors and the international investors that Kurdistan remains a very attractive place for investment. I think now that the Turkey pipeline is open, I think there's a lot of positive trends that can occur in the Kurdistan region's energy sector. First off, as we discussed, oil production can increase once the full implementation of the agreement is achieved. I think that the continued production of natural gas is the next chapter in the Kurdistan region's energy sector. And that can do a number of things. First, it can further enhance the Kurdistan region's own electricity requirements. And also it can produce excess electricity and gas that can be exported and delivered to either federal Iraq or its neighbors or even Europe. Thank you so much for having me.